My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic, where we talk cars and boats and anything you put gas in every Thursday night, 9 o'clock. I have a good friend, special guest, Joe Coddington, in the house tonight. How you doing, Joe?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful, and thank you. I've always wanted to play in traffic with you.
That's right. That's right.
Don't make laser blades like my mother did.
Yeah. So how's things going out there? You're out west, right?
Yes, I am. Actually, right now I'm in Parker, Arizona, and we're having monsoon kind of muggy, horrible heat. Yuck.
Yeah.
And I'm wishing I was back in Wisconsin. It was absolutely gorgeous when I was
Yeah.
there at the Iola Car Show.
Yeah, nice. I've been following you on social media. You've been bouncing around a lot lately.
A little bit. You got to join us at Wisconsin at the Iola Car Show.
Yeah, maybe next year. This year has been so bad for me with COVID. I didn't do any car shows, or I didn't book any talents or anything. It was just a bad year.
It was. It was. But you know what? Because our industry is so small and we all are like family, I think everybody is dying to be with everybody. We're going to kumbaya through this, and
Yeah.
it's going to be better than ever.
Oh yeah, this year at SEMA, I think is going to be really crazy.
Oh, I think it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, they got the new building all done, so more space. Not that we needed more space there, but yeah. So what have you been doing lately?
Oh
Since
my gosh. Playing with cars, looking for cars, trying to sniff carbon monoxide. I'm not into anything other than that.
yeah.
I'm just living life and trying to live the dream that I've just always known, and I miss
Mhm.
it so much.
Yeah. So what is your daily driver?
My daily driver, depending on the weather, could either be my 40 Ford business coupe, or it could
Yeah.
be another 40 Ford business coupe, or it's my BMW. I got
Nice.
to haul around the grandkids, and I wanted a safe
Yeah.
vehicle. And I have to tell you, I prefer my 40 Fords, but with the grandkids, you got to have safety. And
Yeah.
car is smarter than I am, much like my cell phone.
Right. So, okay, we're going to jump back a little bit, back into the Boyd days.
Yep.
How did you get into cars? Like what started you with cars, and then what led you into the Boyd
My
era?
daddy. So my dad raced. He was a circle track racer and also crew chief for Junior way back in the day when they were racing Daytona on the beach. And
Mhm.
dad hailed a Hudson Hornet, and he wanted a boy. Hello, the name Joe. And it's not short for anything, thank goodness, because there's only two letters and not too many branches on our family tree. And
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I've always been a tomboy. I don't know if that's a cool thing to say now or not, but um
Hey.
I napped on creepers with a fender cover, and I preferred my tools and bug spray carburetors over Barbie dolls, and I never played with dolls.
Yeah. You had all the Tonka toys, huh?
I did well, I didn't have that many Tonka toys. I really liked carburetors. Like my dad gave me a carburetor and I could do the jets with my
Mm.
very cool box and everything. I was a very strange kid, okay? And I'm probably a very strange senior citizen, but I don't regret any of it.
Hey, you were living you. That's the key.
Exactly. And I had great parents that said you can do and become anything you want. And
Yeah.
just didn't tell me I would be a senior citizen so soon.
Hey, we're all there. That's thankful for God.
I know.
So you're working for a company now. What company is it?
I have been working for International Aero Detail Products for several years. And how I got involved in that is one of our customers had said, Gil Losi had said that the Spot product was amazing because we had built a Boydster for him and it had
Hmm.
like carpet in it. And that's really hard to keep clean, when you have like a pale yellow interior and pale yellow carpeting. So anyway, he said try this product, and I had some old wine that Boyd had spilled. And if you hear the squeaking in the background, it is my dog Diesel, and he's a rescue, and he's so happy that
Happy to see you.
he just got to squeak his toys. But anyway, so Boyd had spilled this Cabernet Sauvignon on an antique rug. Well, I sent it to the antique rug cleaner, because it was an antique rug that we had brought back from Europe, and they couldn't get it out. And then after he passed, I went, you know what? I kind of need that. Maybe I need a
Right.
reminder. And Galosi told me to try it. I told Mike Hansen, my boss, who's been my boss for several years, and I think like 7 years now. And so I used it, and I jokingly said to him, if it gets it out, I will be your spokesperson for the rest of my life. It got
Uh-oh.
out. Products, and I can't talk enough about them because they're so highly concentrated.
Yeah.
The founder CEO is from the airplane industry, also a big car guy. And
Mhm.
when do you see a garden hose on an airplane? You don't. So every Gulfstream has International Aero products on it. And
Wow.
it's amazing. And Jonathan does what Boyd did with airplanes, with Gulfstreams, and even larger aircraft than that for the Shaws and Sheiks and business state, heads of the state, their
Yeah.
airplanes. So he's pretty incredible with airplanes. And actually,
Wow.
his Corvette that he painted at 17 is still in the warehouse, still in the factory. And he's a car guy.
Oh, that's great. That's great. It's amazing how the car industry leads over to other industries like cleaning products or airplane building. I mean, it's just all mixed in together.
Well, don't tell anybody, but I use the stuff in my house too. The
Really?
finale amazing on my granite countertops and everything. Oh, I it, it's not approved, so I probably shouldn't say it.
Shh. Nobody hear it.
Oh,
That's great. So listen, when I was a kid, I bought a model of one of Boyd's cars, and that's what
wait,
really kicked me off. And the 37 Vicky.
okay.
And
Okay.
wait a minute, I'm going to put it on the screen because I'll tell you what, it took me from being a hoodlum running around with a car he thought was nice to really wanting to be in the car industry. There it
Oh,
is.
the steer. That was built for Fred. Yeah.
Oh, I still
That
have it somewhere. It's packed up somewhere, but I still have it. I think I built that car when I was 14, maybe
nice.
15, somewhere in there. And
Nice.
it trapped me. I'll tell you what, that car, I've always wanted a Vicky now. They're out of range of my price range, but I still want one.
Hey, you know what? Never pierce holes in your dreams. So, and you had asked me how I met Boyd Coddington. I was introduced
Yes.
by a mutual friend, and actually, he was a customer of Boyd's. But prior to that, I was buying Boyd Coddington wheels. I grew up in Arizona, so I was buying them from a speed shop, and
Hmm.
they were all one-off three-piece wheels back in the day. And but anyway, that's how I originally started buying the wheels. Then I had a blowout and tore up my Corvette, and went with Mike Martin because he had a trucking company, and I always wanted to go in a big truck.
Yeah.
And he went up to Hot August nights and hauling some cars, invited me, and I'm like, I'm in as long as I can use a CB. That was
Nice.
a big deal. I mean,
Yeah. It
all
wasn't
those.
wasn't a hard sell for you, huh?
And then we had delivered some cars, and we had some Boyd cars on the transport. And so he introduced me to Boyd and said, oh, Boyd can fix your wheel. And I go, I'm not worried about it. I'll buy some other wheels, because every one of my vehicles had Boyd Coddington wheels on them. I
Yeah.
love them. You know, that's before OEM. OEM gave you such ugly wheels on your cars back in the day,
Hmm.
you
Yep.
know. So I had to have cool wheels and I had to have them lowered because my dad always lowered everything. My uncle Rupert would sit on the quarter panels and he would cut the shackles. I mean, very high safety things back.
Yeah. Amazing that they lived.
And oh, it's amazing we lived, right? And
Yeah.
oh, anyway, I was introduced to Boyd, and I just said, "You guys go ahead and visit, but there's got to be an adult beverage out there with a little umbrella in it." Sorry, guys, but there's some carbon monoxide I need to smell. I'll talk to you later. And
Yeah.
our original introduction. And then it took about a year, maybe a year and a quarter later, before I finally agreed to go on a blind date because Mike wouldn't tell me who it was, and it was luncheon only.
Hmm.
And here comes Boyd Coddington. Anyway, that was the end. We were really we became car friends first and just kind of hung out, went to car shows together and things like that. He was going through the downfall of his company,
Hmm.
the publicly traded company, and we both just, we kumbaya together.
Nice, nice. So how did the show come about?
Okay.
American Hot Rods.
Is amazing. And that's a whole nother story that probably people don't really understand. But Boyd was working in a gas station in Idaho. He was hailed in Rupert, Idaho. So he was working in a gas station, and one of the fellow employees or an employee that he had hired, and they became very close friends. He worked with Boyd for years. Hence, 1,000 years later, his brother is a money guy, and actually, he collects Russian artifacts. But
Hmm.
he was a money guy for Pilgrim Films, Craig Plugeon. And so they had done American Chopper.
Hmm.
Jesse James was on with Monster Garage, and then they did American Chopper. So he asked his brother, who's the best hot rod builder in the world, and his brother said, nobody other than Boyd Coddington. So we got this really crazy email, kind of like, is your car under warranty kind of email, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
So I responded, and then it wound up being, the brother of a good friend of, and hence American Hot Rod.
Wow. I tell you what, that show kind of really started off this whole car shows on
It,
TV.
I really believe that it did, and I believe back in the day, because Orange County Choppers had so much drama, and I mean, some of their drama was real,
Hmm.
that they wanted Orange County. We were in Orange County, California. They were in Orange County, New York. And I know the Tuttles, not really well, but pretty well enough to go have dinner with and go visit each other's homes.
Hmm.
But we didn't have enough drama. And so the producers really wanted that drama. Not saying that Discovery wanted that drama, but they really wanted ratings back in the day. So a lot
Yeah.
of the show was, you know, kind of, I mean, who has a boxing rink in their hot? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we had customers that had been with us 20 years because remember Boyd was in the business for 25 years, almost 30 years before we ever got the TV show. And they
Hmm.
were like, "What's this? This is crazy." But Boyd and I sat down, and this is something that he wanted to do, and by golly, we did it. He wanted At first, he told me he wanted this much in the back of Hot Rod magazine saying Boyd Coddington. And he wound up
Yeah.
with covers on all these enormous magazines, and he pinched himself. But if he could be a household name and bring hot rodding to the masses, he was in. And
Hmm.
so we were in. And it's like living in a fishbowl, I got to tell you.
And he did it well, or you guys did it well, because it left an impression on a lot of people. Yep.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't miss the drama of the show, but I do miss the technical parts of the show, you know, where they really show what Al was doing, what Dwayne was doing, what Burnt was doing, what, I mean, what
Mhm.
all of our guys, and Boyd was a crazy, he was just a magician. He found these craftsmen that were incredible in their field, and women.
Mhm.
Everybody thinks that we only had one gal, but we had a couple gals, and especially Jen. And she went on fabricating. She's still working on cars, and I'm so proud of her. But anyway, he had the innate ability of finding these amazing craftsmen and women to build a synergy, because it takes a synergy to build a hot rod.
Yeah.
No
True. True.
builds a hot rod.
Right. So we talked a couple years ago, and you were telling me all the people that worked for Boyd that I never realized, people that are real popular now. So can you give us a little insight on people that started out with Boyd?
Oh my gosh. Well, Jesse James, Lil John Butera. Lil John Butera was by far the best machinist in the planet.
Yeah.
And my husband was a machinist as well. But Lil John really always pushed the envelope. And he was more into the racing, and motorcycle ventures. And then when Boyd reached out into motorcycles, Jesse James came in, and Chip Foose was in school. Tom Taylor did design. I mean, the
Uh,
list on and on and on who all. And I should have notes here because I can't remember everything anymore.
no, no, you're
But
doing fine.
but everyone who worked for Boyd, or who designed cars or wheels or parts or anything, even to the very absolute last ones, which is like Mike Curtis. I think he came to work for Boyd when he was 17, sweeping the shop floor. I mean, they're
Wow.
all incredible, and they're all out on their own, and they're just all doing well. And how I look at it, they have a piece of Boyd that keeps
Yep.
going. And Chip Foose alone, he's got a piece of his dad, and he's got a piece of Boyd.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see it too. You can see a little flare of something on Foose's cars that leans you back towards Boyd. Yep.
Right, right, for sure.
Yep.
And Tom Taylor, I was talking to Tom Taylor, and he goes, "Who would think an automotive designer would be designing T-shirts?" But he's so
Right.
good. He can design anything. Chris Ito, or he was with Peterbilt. I mean,
Hmm.
it's just, the history list is so amazing. And I personally feel blessed that I ever even got to meet all of these incredible craftsmen and women, like I said.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, he left an impression on me. I tell you, not that I'm anybody, but you know what I mean.
Hey,
Yeah.
you're a car guy. Any car
Yeah.
guy, car girl, car kid, car whatever you want to call them, enthusiast. If they don't know about Boyd, maybe they should.
Yeah. They need to go back and Google it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. My grandson the other day, he said, now he's 7 years old, and he goes, "Grandma, I Googled you." I go, "What are you Googling me for?" And he goes, "Because one of my friends said you were famous." I go, "Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
your grandmother. That's all I am. I'm nothing more." But whose grandkids Google them?
Yeah, that means their parents. You know, the dad probably had something to show.
Well, actually, both of my children were on the show with Boyd's children, with Greg and Chris Coddington.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's all in the family there at points in time. Thomas, my oldest son, did all the retrofitting of the hot rod shop. If anyone ever visited that, he did all that. And now
Oh,
he
nice.
big buildings, $100 million buildings. So, and
Nice.
my youngest son is a machinist. And I was just with Dwayne at the Iola Car Show, and he was like,
Oh yeah.
your kid just wanted to machine all these parts for the forklift. I wanted him to work. And I said, what are you? And he said, let the kid go.
Yeah. Yeah. I met Dwayne a couple years ago at SEMA.
You
Yeah.
know what? People have a misconception on him. And he could be Dwayne, but he is incredibly funny. He's incredibly giving. He's an
Mhm.
incredibly kind person. And but he was put in a position where he had to do what he had to do for Boyd, which is there's always a good guy, bad guy.
Yeah.
And
Be the heavy hand. Yep.
yep, yep.
Yeah. He
Hey,
seemed to be nice.
is it fair that I see Pug and Arlo? Hi, Joe, Wisconsin misses you.
Yeah. That's what I see.
I miss Wisconsin. And then Mean Papa, what is the senior thing? Oh, darling, I earned this.
Now, if anybody don't know, Joe is like 45 years old.
Oh, ooh, a bit boosted up. I got to tell you
Nice.
something. Greg and Leah Stouse in Wisconsin, they have Greg's Speed Shop. If you're
Mhm.
ever in Wapaka, Wisconsin, you have to stop by. He is considered my aftermarket son, one of two. I have Joe Opperman as well, but he did a tribute wall, one of myself and my racing and
Mhm.
just my life, and the other of Boyd Coddington. So you need to stop by and check it out and check out their shop. It's amazing. And you may even be able to see the pictures and everything online.
You know, me and my wife are going to drive to SEMA this year, and we're going to camp on the way back. So I'm going to try to hit a lot of places. So that might be on the
You need
list.
to go there. I'll introduce you. You can camp in their backyard, but it might be cold in November.
Yeah, yeah, Wisconsin. You're right.
Well, they had Snowdio Queen, and I froze my tuchus off a couple years ago, pre-COVID.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so I'm gonna well, wait a minute. I got a couple other questions.
Okay.
Now you were on another show doing your own thing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, I was on a show for with Factory Five. It was an all girls build of a Cobra,
Hmm.
um, you know, and we had an absolute blast. A couple of the girls had never wrenched before, and Factory Five really does have a very nice component vehicle that I believe each and every person gets to be their own Boyd Coddington in their garage. It's
Yeah.
it's pretty fun. It's pretty great. A lot of rivets, but the safety measures that he's put into the component cars are amazing. So I highly suggest them. He's got a truck, he's got a 33, he's got all kinds of things. So, but in the TV show we did the Cobra.
Nice, nice. Now, who was on that show with you? That we would know.
Oh goodness, Karen Savaggio and
Hmm.
let's see, Sherry Lynn Westridge and Nan Gelhart. She's from Summit Racing. Now she's
Hmm.
one of that had never built before and had a great time. And then Courtney Provencher, who actually works for Factory Five.
Right. Yeah, Nan's the big dog at Summit. I
And
talked to her several times. You know, doing some celebrity stuff. Yeah,
do you know
she's
what? She even called her husband and she goes, "Hey, can we build a Factory Five ourselves? This is really cool."
yeah, she's a really nice lady.
And
Yeah,
Sherry,
I'm not.
get any better than that?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not far from her shop, from Summit, the original Summit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in Ohio, Youngstown, and they're in Akron. They're like 45 minutes from me.
Well, there you go. You
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to visit,
Say again.
you need to go visit Nan.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I talked to her maybe last year sometime. Yeah, I'm gonna
Well,
pop in on her. Say, Joe told me to come in and jump on your desk.
there you go. There you go. Yeah. tell her that. We'll go.
Yeah.
But it's
So
okay. Welcome.
yeah. So how many cars do you have? Any of Boyd's old cars? Do you still have a collection or?
I have the most gorgeous 1940 Ford in the planet, which she's prettier underneath than she is outside, but she's gorgeous. And actually, to tell you the truth, Chip Foose did the rendering, Sam Foose Frenched the headlights and taillights, and Boyd did the build. Now, how does it get
Wow.
better than that?
Yeah,
And
I mean, you got all the
absolutely no.
nice. Nice.
That's my
Okay.
favorite.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to get some of the people in the chat room on the screen. We'll get your pugs on.
Hey,
Here
Scott,
we go.
he said, I'm super cool. I like him.
Who said that?
Scott Rosen.
Oh
Hey,
yeah, yeah.
Scott.
He's one of our garage, our planning traffic guys. That's
Oh,
always on.
nice. Well, I think he's super cool too.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Hello.
Hi there.
No volume. We can't hear you.
Hi,
Hi.
Joe. Good to see you.
Hi, Joe. It's Arlo.
Hey, it's Pug and Arlo.
We're
Yeah.
missing you. I got a rum right here for you.
Ooh, awesome. Hey, go, huh? Go Bucks.
Yeah, right?
Right. Oh, it's going to be hotter than blazes this weekend. So you don't need to, come this weekend. But what is it, 116 by you?
What will it be, 75?
No, 90 and hot and humid.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Hi, Lewis. Hi,
Hello.
Lewis, by the way.
This
How
is
are you guys?
Arlo.
Hi,
Good.
Arlo.
Good, sir.
You know Pug and Arlo?
No, I
No,
don't.
I don't
Tell
think
us,
we've ever met.
tell us a little bit about yourself and your shop.
Well, we don't have a shop. What we have is we're a radio show.
Oh, okay.
We've been going about almost 15 years. That's how we met Joe years ago at a car show and out of Wisconsin. So it's Wisconsin Hot Rod Radio.
Okay.
And I think what you're doing, Lewis, is cool.
Oh,
You know,
thank
this
you.
the whole video screen stuff. It's awesome. It's really with the service that you provide.
Oh,
So yeah,
appreciate
we're
it.
up here. Yeah, we're up here. We go to a lot of car shows, promote a lot of different things. Pug here is the social media director.
Yeah.
The guru.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. The queen.
Without
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah. But we love Joe.
We do. Wisconsin loves Joe,
Yeah.
and that's the truth,
That's the truth.
right?
Thank you.
She's like,
She's got her own memorial brick at Iola old car show.
She's got a memorial brick.
Yep.
yeah.
You have to know, Lois, you have to know
I
that
was-
Joe, when she comes to Wisconsin, she works with the veterans and she gets them, shuttles them around on a big golf cart so they could see the cars.
VIP.
VIP treatment. Joe is the hardest working person in this industry. It's amazing. She starts at 5:30 in the morning, still going 10 o'clock at night.
I
Truth.
believe it.
Yeah, she's hardworking.
I believe it.
But then I nap for a week.
You nap hard.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
I don't know when you nap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen, Joe, I met her maybe 4 or 5 years ago at SEMA. And we were at the Velocity party. And
Oh, we don't get invited to those parties.
well, I snuck in.
You got Lewis. You got to know Lewis.
I guess so.
I know where the hole in the fence is. We can get through.
Done. Yep.
So listen, I met her at the party, and it was like I've known her forever. And anytime we talk online or anything, it's always like she's my big sister or something. You know what I mean? It's like we know each other forever.
We
Good
do
people.
know. We do know.
Joe is so kind to everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you follow her on her social, everybody's in love with Joe. They want her to be the sister, to be the wife.
And I'm going to throw in there too. Joe knows so much about cars. I'm telling you, she's a nice person, but you can ask her anything about any car.
Yep.
She knows it. This car is inside and out.
Yep.
And so that's also what we're impressed with.
She didn't marry into that. She always had that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was when Arlo and Captain Bob invited me to my first car show in Wisconsin, and they had me pick out a trophy. And so they're riding around on the golf cart, and I'm like, wait, I gotta look under this car, and I gotta look in the, I gotta, and Arlo was like, "You're on your hands and knees. What are you doing, Joe?"
Actually, Lewis, I caught her polishing my car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look over and it's satin black. My car is satin black and it's dirty all the time. And she got out the Aero products and started cleaning my car. And I said, "Stop! You're a celebrity. This makes me look bad that I got you doing my car."
But those Aero products are awesome.
Yeah, they are.
The Aero products are amazing.
Yeah, she's always busy.
Yeah. They are good.
Yep.
So,
If you follow her on social media, you'll see that she bounces around.
don't get a toolbox or a dirty car. I'll just get on.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, and yes, and yes. Well, thanks for the time, Lewis and Joe. We appreciate you both.
Oh, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, meeting you too. We'll see you at SEMA.
Okay.
Okay. Listen, speaking of SEMA, I'm doing a podcast at SEMA, and we'll be filming there. So maybe I'll have you come as a guest as well. Joe's going to be.
Love to do it.
Joe's going to be.
Bob would be awesome.
Yeah. So
that's a nice honor.
It's a nice honor. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I have your number because I'll text you. So I'll give you some information. Matter of fact, we'll get you on here one night as a guest.
Okay. That'd be awesome. We'd be honored. We'd be honored.
Drag you over and meet these fine people.
Only if we can stay with you, Joe.
All right.
Love you.
All right.
Love you.
Thanks,
too.
Lewis.
Oh, great. Okay, so let me get some of the usual guys in. They're friendly. They're safe. How do you say it? They're friendly, safe. I guess you don't have to worry about any surprises. Okay. These are our playing traffic guy. This is John.
Surprise!
Hey, John. How are you?
How are you?
I am absolutely fantastic.
We spoke a couple of years ago.
Hi, Joe.
SEMA.
Hi.
We're bringing in Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Matco Man Brian, wake up.
Hey.
And
I'm working hard, rebuilding ratchets right now.
There you go. Building rats.
He's our resident tool guy.
He's our tool man.
I always turn my broken ones in.
Well, that's what somebody did. They turned it in, and I'm putting them all back together so I can deliver them to tomorrow. So
that's awesome. I love it.
So Brian's the Maco man. Oh, somebody's echoing.
So Joe, so you live in Wisconsin now?
No. I don't live in Wisconsin, but I go back here for the Iola Car Show. And it's one of my absolute favorite car shows ever. 307 of just absolutely camping, swap meet, blue ribbon cars, regular cars, car corral, cars for sale. It's vendors. Nice. It's unbelievable.
So you're from California then originally?
Yes.
And still there.
Yes. And right now, though, I'm in Arizona this moment. I slid in sideways off the I-10 to get on Lewis's program.
Appreciate it. I've been trying to get her for a couple of years now. She finally jumped in on us. So we really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Lewis.
Hey, how's your birthday, Lewis?
Well, it's going pretty good. I woke up again.
Wait. I sang to him. Did y'all sing to him? Let's hear this. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lewis.
Happy
birthday to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, I'm just happy I woke up again.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
36 today.
36.
Oh no, Facebook says he's 91.
Yeah, I did say that.
Well, when I first got on Facebook, I was kind of nervous about putting my real birth date and my name and all that stuff. So I was like, man, I'm putting 91. I forget what I put on it, but
I think I saw like 90, 98 or something like that. 91, 98. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
And plus, people will say, man, you look good for your age.
Yeah.
I'm 52.
Oh,
Yep,
man.
52.
Now you're really making me feel old.
Same
Oh,
age as
you're a
me.
kid.
But I have more grays.
Yeah, I don't know. I cover mine up a little bit.
I go to the beauty salon myself, so I got nothing.
So we
Real.
got Chassis John. He's a fish specialist for the stars. Tell him, John.
Well, I used to build cars. I'm building one now. I'm recreating a car that I used to own years ago. And I have a custom aquarium company.
Nice.
So I do all kinds of custom aquarium systems and services. I used to be on the TV show Tanked on Animal Planet.
Okay.
And we work with a lot of pretty famous people. Do some stuff. It's a lot of fun. We're here in Florida.
Now, what are you recreating? Because I can't really see my.
Oh,
My-
it's a 1970 Firebird.
Oh, nice.
And it's Pro Street, so it's got a narrowed rear with a chassis with a 4-link and coilovers in the back. Custom interior.
Yeah.
It's big block Chevy, so it's not a true Pontiac.
Okay.
It's like a drag car that you can drive on the street.
You using a Tremec or what are you using?
No, it's got a turbo 400.
Okay.
3-speed, but I'm thinking about going to an automatic overdrive.
Really?
So I may do that, but I'm in the construction stages now. I'm doing the
Okay.
chassis and the narrowed rear, and then we'll work our way through.
Very.
It was something that came up, and my wife was like, "Oh, you should get this car and recreate your first Pro Street car." And we bought it and stripped it and put new quarter panels on it, and I'm building it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Joe,
After that, I got another one in the wings that I have to do.
There you
Joe-
go. Always a car to build, you know.
listen, his wife tricked him. She goes, "Oh,
Yes.
babe, you should get this car, and
Oh, yeah,
and you should do this and this and this." And so that's what he's doing. He don't realize that he's not going to be allowed to drive it
Yeah.
once it's done.
So the weird twisted story, I'll kind of make it as short as possible, is I bought a 1970 Firebird Formula 400 from my best friend's brother back when I lived on Long Island. It went through various stages, got to the point where it was a Pro Street car. It got rear-ended by a drunk. And when we had it at the body shop, it was 1981. And I said to my body guy, I'm like, well, since we have to change the back of the car and get new parts, can we make this car a 1981 version by changing the quarter panels to the new ones? I said, and I'll get an 81 fiberglass nose. So he's like, yeah, let's do it. So I started out with a white 1970. And when we were done, we came out with a black 1981. And everybody thought I built a brand new car. Yet the VIN number and the registration was always 1970. But the car didn't look anything like a 70. And I sold it years ago. And it was one of the 10 fastest street legal cars in America.
Nice.
I got the car back. That's the one that's waiting in the wings. And I was getting ready to build that. And then this one came about. And
The wife?
the funny part, the funny part is this car is really a 1981 Firebird. And I reverse engineered this one into a 1970 nose and fenders and the whole deal. And it was my wife that prompted me to get into this. And she's like, you should do this. That way you can have your black 81 and your white 1970. She says, but don't make this one fast because I want to be able to drive it.
Mhm.
Like, okay.
Joe, he still hasn't figured it out.
So I'm building my wife's car.
Maybe I need to meet your wife.
Oh, you'd like her. She's cool.
A couple times. We'll start her out.
We'll come look for you at SEMA.
We'll start her out with like a shifter cart or something. I'll get her to where she.
Yeah. Well, my other car has I don't know if my other car has what's called a Lenco transmission.
Oh, I know Linkos.
Okay, yeah. So she's like, I don't want anything to do with a Lenco.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm like, no, that's all right. We'll put an automatic in it. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So she's all happy.
Oh,
she's extremely excited today. She picked up her brand new Mercedes Benz.
Well, you know what they say. The house is happy, so
yeah. She's ecstatic, and
good.
she picked up her new Benz today, and it's got a lot more bells and whistles than the loaded one she got out of. I looked at inside this car. I'm amazed. It's about time Mercedes stepped up in terms of the technology. It's I think it's got 18 speakers in it.
I don't know how to drive my car. Okay, it's like smarter than I am. It's like, yeah, I'm much happier in my hot rods. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly.
Yeah.
Been there.
Ray, that usually is on the show, he's had a family dinner, so he didn't make it tonight.
Oh, okay.
But he's Motor Mouth Radio. He does it out of Long Island. Yep. So I will be giving you his information or your information because he has all like we trade off guests.
Okay.
So you enjoy going on his show. It's a Sunday morning show.
Geez, after all these years, I already get traded in. So is my.
Yeah. Now he's got a great radio show. You'll love it. It'll be you call in. It'll be a super nice hour of just chit chatting about cars and history and the whole deal.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good radio program.
I have to tell you, I have met a car guy or a car gal that I would like.
Yeah, that's about true.
You'll love Ray.
We all
Ray's a good guy.
Yep. Any
So,
friend
Joe,
of yours? Yes, go ahead.
So you were talking about a 40 Ford that you have.
Yep.
Do you have any other cars in your personal collection that you play around with? Or?
Just sold a 40 Ford convertible that was all original, and we redid the flathead in it. And I didn't do any of the mechanical work on the flathead. I'm a little over my pay grade. But I just sold that. Got rid of one of my race cars. So no, my fleet is a little low right now. I did see in Hemmings Pontiac station wagon that I really wanted, but it sold.
A Safari.
So I'm.
What year was it?
So anyway, I'm just looking. Don't know. But I got an empty hole in my 14,000 square foot little baby garage here at the house, and
14,000.
Are you a Chevy fan, a Ford, a Dodge, or anything in particular?
I'm fickle. Anything that I feel like driving, I drive. Whether it's a Roadster, a hardtop, a Dodge, a Ford, a Chevy, AMC, I love them all.
Yeah.
All right, I have one question for you, and I'll let these guys talk. 55, 67, what's your favorite?
Oh, jeez.
Hopefully he's watching.
I love tri-fis. It depends. I've had a 55. I've had them all. I love them all.
Which one's your favorite, though?
My 40 Ford.
No, on the three. 5, 6, or 7.
Of the 5, 6, or 7.
Don't make me choose because I've loved all of them.
Please, you have to. There might be someone watching.
This is a running thing that somebody has. You have to answer it. Yeah.
Which is your least favorite?
My least favorite it might be the car that I wrecked. I don't have a favorite. How can I be so dated with the?
All right, I guess we won't be ranking on someone later. So
Terry will be upset.
Where did he go? He was on the conference call before.
Yeah.
We have a guy, Terry. He's a YouTube phenom. He's Coverman 66.
Uh-huh.
And every guest he asked, what's car do they like out of the three? He's a 66, right? No, 56.
56.
56.
He loves the 56.
He
So
thinks the 56 is the best of the three.
Well, I got to tell you, I was born in 56. So he could take that. But it's not
yeah.
my favorite is my
And that's your story. You're sticking to it, right, Jeff?
story,
Yeah.
and I'm sticking to that billet.
You look marvelous for your age.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You can never guess it, right?
Women never want to admit how old they are, and you already said what year you were born.
You know
So
what? I don't care. I'm 64. I'll be 65 in December, and all these lines I've earned, and Botox is great, but it's not really. But I do oil of a lady cream. I got to tell you.
Hey.
It's crazy.
Unreal.
Yeah. What do you say to that? Nothing, right?
Leaving that one alone.
Yeah, Larry, I ain't saying nothing.
Oh, I got a question.
Yeah.
What was the last car to come out of the shop?
The French Connection. Boyd was in the hospital, and we finished the French Connection. He listened to the motor run, and wet paint and all. Miles Kovac had it back in Chicago for the debut, the auto debut.
Rama, yeah.
My son and one of our guys, he actually was one of our artists, Todd Emmons. They drove it back, and they drove it back through snow and sleet, and oh my god!
Wow.
And that was awesome. A lot of people claim their cars are the last car, and it's amazing. And I see so many Boyd cars that he never built. It's
Where is that car today?
in Sam Pack in Texas, Dallas Fort Worth, in his collection, and he's taking lovely care of it.
Great.
And he lets me visit and kiss her all the time. So it's okay.
That's awesome.
That's
Boyd
great.
was a genius.
You know, I think, and a lot of people ask me this question, like, what happened to the shop? Why didn't I keep the shop going? Because I had the craftsman, but it's hard to have a magic show without the magician. He was absolutely the magician. And
It's the kind of business that can't run without him.
No.
You know,
it wouldn't be
products that are already, like the wheel line.
Right.
But they're, innovation, because he would design a wheel based on a car he was building.
Exactly. That's why.
So newer model 100s, that would come to an end.
Right.
So I think it ended the way it should have.
Mm-hmm.
A little too soon for me, but
sad, but I think that's the way the legacy should have gone.
Now, is the wheel company still in the family?
Boyd Coddington Wheels, Boyd Jr. sold to an Australian gentleman. The Australian gentleman sold it back to an American guys, and they're great. And then Hot Rods by Boyd is his son, Chris. So we still have some in the family.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That's good.
I had a set of Boyds back in 91.
Nice.
And they were 17-inch, and that was the biggest wheel you could get. And only person that made tires for it was Fittipaldi's.
Is that crazy?
And I was about broke trying to pay for them tires.
Yeah.
I could never afford the Boyd wheels, so I always went American.
Oh man, all my extra money before I married him, and then after I married him, trying to get wheels, I even asked my Curtis, "What am I going to sleep with you to get wheels? Come on."
That's funny.
The day they were like $5,000, so
Yeah.
Yeah. The wheel game is a whole new boat now.
It is. It is.
Oh yeah. Everybody's got a 3-axis or a 5-axis CNC, and they got somebody that knows how to program it, and that's one of the things I was most amazed at a couple of years back. We went to the building that was nothing but wheels and tires. I mean, there were tires for like Tundra vehicles in Alaska, and there were tires for shopping carts. Anything with wheels was there. But there were literally hundreds of wheel companies selling CNC wheels.
Yep.
And they went from guys that were building 13-inch wheels for the low riders all the way up to some of these crazies that were selling, 28s and 30s for these donks.
Mm-hmm. They're at 32s now.
Yeah. And my wife and I were walking around and I'm like, if you know how to program a CNC machine and you got the money to get one of those things, you got a wheel company now. It's not the way it used to be.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's unreal. There was companies from all over the world just banging out billet wheels. I'm like, oh, wow.
Exactly.
It kind of lost its luster.
Hey, Lewis.
Yes.
I know this is going to be horrible. I have to run.
No. We enjoyed your time here. You don't have to run.
That was awesome.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Go and come back. We'll be here waiting for you.
Go and come back. We'll wait.
All right. I'll be right back.
All right.
Too much coffee today.
Well, she just came in off the road. She was traveling. So
Traveling.
Oh,
yeah, she ran in the house and sat in the chair for us.
Lewis, your wife get you anything good for your birthday?
Yeah, she's having a little get together tomorrow, so I'll get all my gifts then.
Coolio.
And out of my 3 kids, my youngest gave me money towards my wheels.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Junior?
My youngest daughter.
Oh.
Wow.
Great.
The other 2 are bums. They don't want to give me. I was like, hey, buy me 1 wheel, and I'll buy the other 3.
Yeah.
All 3 of you
Here's
chip
fair.
in and give me 1 wheel. No, my youngest daughter came in through the money down. She's like, here, Dad, this is towards your wheels. I'm like, all right, man.
That's awesome.
The other ones are stopping by just for the cake and ice cream, right?
No, I ain't letting them in.
Just lock the door.
Unreal.
That's funny. You do any more work on the bus?
Yeah, I got the floor all sanded and and what do you call it? Rust converted.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you sprayed it with that stuff.
What brand did you use?
I used coat. What is it called?
That coat with a K?
No, it's a C. Wait, what was it? I don't know. You have to go to my YouTube channel and watch the video. I can't tell you all the stuff. You got to go watch the video.
I watched one of your videos this morning.
Yeah, Joe. I'm converting a school bus into an RV.
He's a schoolie.
A schoolie, and we are putting it on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, so we're documenting the whole build.
She's frozen.
She's frozen.
Joe.
She must be taking that cat nap.
Whatchamacallit, they took a trailer and they're making it into an RV or something.
Finnegan.
No. The woman and her husband, she was a model. They had that Flying Spark show.
Yeah. I can't think of her name either.
Have you had them on your show yet?
Yeah.
She get them back on there because it'd be a good conversation. They were just working on the bathroom and doing everything. Just they've been posting pictures on their Facebook.
Emily,
yeah.
Oh,
She was a sweetheart.
Oh yeah.
She was at the Iola Car Show with us. She and her husband Aaron are absolute
good people.
Aaron.
See, everybody knows everybody.
Yep.
Hey, you guys, thank you for that. See what
No
happens.
problem.
Hey, no problem at all.
Hey, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Hey, we know you just came off the road, and we appreciate you jumping in the seat for us.
Read about making the show on time, so I drove like almost 3 hours to get here. So anyway,
Oh, we appreciate you.
I was so happy to be on and with you guys. I mean, what a plus.
This is very special.
You're more welcome to come anytime you want. It's
Yeah,
always
you're
fun
part-
time.
Are you just traveling through Arizona, or you got something going on, or?
Home here. I have a home here. It's on the river, and so I was off taking care of business and rip on home to see Lewis. And the internet connection here is so on and off because I guess we're close to the river or something. So I was just hoping that I would finally be able to be on his show.
I appreciate you.
You know,
And
it's
it- And like I don't know if you heard us, you were kind of froze, but me and my wife are building a school bus conversion to a RV,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and we're doing a YouTube channel, and we're pretending like we're.
I've been watching you.
Yeah, have you? Okay. So that might be pulling up in your driveway one day.
Well, there you go. And
A
I got
purple school bus.
nothing wrong with that.
That's so cool.
A lot of work, man. I tell you, you don't put in count of all of the little things you have to do to get to what you want to do. You know what I mean?
You know, I think what you do is what you want to do anyway. And it's all for an end purpose. And for you guys, I mean, from what I've seen, when you picked up the bus and your wife was all like, whoa, whoa, here comes that bus. And I think it's awesome. And this is like a dream. Don't stop your dreams.
Oh, no. Yep. See, I'll be 55 and I'm going to retire at 55 and just travel.
There you
know?
go.
You know, that's my plan, and that's where we're heading.
And I'm the opposite. I don't ever want to retire. I'm afraid of something in my world that's called rust.
Yeah.
Rust never sleeps.
Well, I know that.
very true. I'm afraid to stop moving. They might throw dirt on me.
Me too.
That's true. Well, he's gone. He's a goner.
Bad as the grass probably wanted, right?
Yeah, that's what my customers always say. They say, Ron, you never stop. And I was like, if I stop, they'll throw dirt on me. So
Yeah.
gotta
Hey,
keep moving.
guys.
How
Hey, how you
Oh
doing?
my God. I am so rugged right now. You guys don't even know. So, hi, Joe. I'm
Hi,
Heidi.
Joe. How are
I
you?
left. I'm good. I'm kind of disgusting right now. I'm over in the shop, like you can see, but we're getting ready for a huge swap meet this weekend, and we have a 26 foot U-Haul that Arco loaded while I ran around like a crazy lady. Now I'm doing all my other stuff like laminating signs and so anyways, I wasn't meaning to come on. I was just trying to watch. But anyway, how are you? Oh.
So
boy.
Heidi, tell Joe who you are and what your shop and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm Heidi. Arco and I own Minnesota Outlaw Customs. He's building this beautiful creature back here.
Yeah.
Not that beautiful creature. That beautiful creature is mine. That's my truck. No, he's building a coach built car for SEMA. But we build all kinds of hot rods. We run a rat rod most of the time until she's done. But yeah, you can catch us on a lot of stuff. We have a YouTube channel, Outlaw Edge. That's probably where he's most known. I'm kind of like the little mouse that scurries around behind him, so I'm not used to being on stuff without him. He's all the charisma, and I'm all the like business. But it's fun. We have a great little shop. That's pretty much it. It's just a cool old vintage hot rod shop. Oh, and there's a bike back there. Yeah.
So where is your hot rod going to be at SEMA?
It's going to be in the AE film booth, quality film. That's a window tint booth, in their featured spot. Hopefully outside, mostly because this car is really famous with just the general public. Most people have really, really watched a lot of our videos because of the metal shaping. So the whole front of the car, I can't really get you a good picture because she's the wrong way. I mean, the back is cool, but it's a coach built car, just kind of out of our head. We started with a 48 Studebaker Champion, and we used the windshield. That's it.
That's all that's left is the windshield?
That's all you need.
Yeah, yep. We used the windshield and then the VIN number stamped in the windshield. And then we basically used the sides of the cowl. And then we did take the grill and spin it around and put it in for the dash for the interior because it's just epically Art Deco. It's beautiful. And the window is out of a 48 Ford. And we've built this coach-built car in the rat rod style. So we're building it with what we have in flat sheet metal. So that's kind of my exciting thing because it's really all creativity. So.
That's awesome.
But she's dusty right now because we've been doing so many other things. The frame is finally in primer, which was a chore, but awesome. But we spent the last 2 days loading a U-Haul truck full of antiques and car parts and stuff. So this is why I look terrible.
Where's the swap meet that you're going to? Which swap meet are you going to?
It's in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. It's called the Weekend of Wheels. There's 2 big car shows. There's probably, they guesstimate there's usually about 80,000 people in Grand Rapids over that weekend for the 2 car shows, the big swap meet, the whole thing. And then there's a little rodeo called the Effie Rodeo, and that's like 40 miles north. So Itasca County kind of explodes and becomes, and that's the county right next to us, and it becomes this huge tourist place. Like I went by the rodeo grounds today. There was probably 200 campers already, and the rodeo doesn't start till tomorrow. Yeah, last year they got. I don't know if you guys heard about that. This is kind of cool. So my friends, the Pitsons, run the rodeo, and they have for 66 years. And last year the governor told them they couldn't run it, and so he just didn't charge. He said, "You guys come in, and we're gonna do we're having a rodeo. I can't stop you if you want to come." And he ended up getting just about getting fines and all kinds of stuff, but he took it to court and he really stood up for his rights as a citizen, and it was pretty epic. So we had to go last year because our car show was canceled. And then we had our car show as one of the few events that was able to be held up here.
Why were they breaking his shoes? Was it COVID thing they were talking
It
about?
was. They were it's an outdoor event, and it's ironically, it's historically all the family groups all sit together anyways. And when we went there, guess what? All the family groups that were camping together and eating together and sleeping together, all of them had their little sections, and they all sat in the same sections they sit every year. So it was pretty epic to be there and support our friends. And we usually don't get to go because this is a big weekend for us to get rid of a bunch of our old car parts that we aren't going to use, and they find us. Anyways, I'm sorry I look so terrible, guys. I just feel like it's really hot here today too.
Terrible, So.
This is a pretty exciting weekend for us. And then in 3 weeks we have our car show, the Resurrectors Reunion. You should come; it'd be super fun. You could be a guest judge.
And we're that's
in Big Falls, Minnesota, 28 miles from the Canadian border.
Oh my goodness.
Where in Arizona are you?
I am in Parker, Arizona. We're I don't know what it was today. It was a cooling trend, so it was probably only 109.
Only 109?
Yeah, right. But it's dry.
I feel like I'm 109 right now.
That's dry heat. It's
dry.
Yeah.
I got a good dose of dry heat last week. I was in Colorado.
Okay. Oh, right.
And it was awesome. It was like high 80s and 90s, and it was zero humidity. I was in Golden.
Oh,
for
yeah.
a few days. It was phenomenal. What a great little town.
It is.
I've never been there. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. The only thing I don't like about Golden, Colorado is everybody is absolutely physically fit. They all ride.
Look good.
Everybody's got a dog. Everybody's got a tight bod. Everybody's wearing like workout type stretchy sort of things, and they all ride around on like $3,000 carbon fiber Tour de France bikes.
Here you go.
The hills are like this, and I'm sitting there. We're eating lunch, and they're just pedaling right up this hill like it's flat.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, what's with these people? And my wife's like, they obviously have very strong lungs, strong heart, and they're physically fit, which you are not.
So when I'm geeking out and I'm not watching car things on YouTube and TV, I watch people run ultra marathons and I don't know why I love it so much. But I'm like, look at how they run. Not me.
You know, people look so peaceful when they're running, don't they?
I get tired watching them.
It's like, man, they're really peaceful running. And I run to the car. Look, I run to the car when it's raining. I'm not peaceful. I'm not at peace.
We took the Cog Railway to the top of Pikes Peak.
Oh, wow.
You want to know what it's like to have emphysema? Go take that ride.
Really? I suppose.
I think I'm not sure how high Pikes Peak is. It was like 9,000 feet above sea level, or 19,000 feet. It's way up there. It's crazy. At the station, it was 84 degrees. When we got out of the train at the peak, it was 40 degrees, and it was a 30-mile-an-hour wind, constant, not gust, constant.
Holy!
But you had to hold on to the rail, and I got to tell you, I could not breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. It was ridiculous.
See, I've never experienced that.
I've never experienced it in my life. And I get up there
my
and
my co-star just came in and walked back out again.
Y'all have to go watch Pikes Peak races. I mean, those are
really, is that
amazing.
epic?
Yeah.
It's an amazing race.
Epic.
You know, and it's pretty wild because the train ride at one point near the top goes right past the actual road. And there's these people driving, their cars, and you get that bumper sticker, "My car climbed Pikes Peak." So it was unbelievable. But we did a lot of mountain tours, and I mean, these were the most perfect roads for guys that are drifters. I'm so surprised that I didn't see rubber marks on any of these mountain roads. Hairpin turn after hairpin turn, and like 35-degree drop-offs from one to the next. That was like,
oh my God.
Whoa!
I might have just thrown up in my mouth.
No guardrails. We were on this mountain road, and we went to go see some real famous mansion, and it was closed for our wedding. So instead of going back the way we came, I made a right and went down this mountain road that was about 18 miles of winding back and forth and back and forth. No lights, no guardrails. Unbelievable. It was nuts. Beautiful, beautiful country.
No, I'm a flatlander. I like the mountains, but we were heading into SEMA in 2019, and Arco's sleeping, and I'm driving to Kia because we rent a car and drive because I love the road, and I'm just ripping through there, and all of a sudden I got trucks right here, and I'm like, we're going like this in through the and it was dark, and I was like, I'm not cut out for this crap.
Yeah,
I'm a girl from the swamps. I don't even know. I don't know that. But yeah, so then I made him drive out. So I was like, no, not doing that again. But I survived.
It was the first time I've ever been to
really
Denver.
Cool. How do you okay, how fast do you go for on a road like that?
Down this crazy road?
Yeah.
You're probably going 15 miles an hour, unless you get to an area where it's like relatively straight, and then you maybe 30 or something. You're not going to go fast on these roads, but just the way the road was, I'm like, oh my God, this is a perfect road for a supercar or a guy that's a drifter. I mean, they were amazing, amazing roads, and they were in really good shape too. But it was just insane. Some of these hairpin turns were so tight that, I mean, I'm almost like at wheel lock to get around the turn. That's how tight these hairpin turns were because of the way they carved into the mountain to actually do these roads.
You know, what I like about the West is, think about the cowboys rode horses through those mountains and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I love the cowboy era. If I could go back, that's what I'd be, a cowboy. But I'd have a whole bunch of guns.
That's what I've always liked, cowboy stuff. I was weird. I thought my mother knew everybody on the planet, and my dad used to be a cowboy.
That's cool.
None of that was true.
Yeah. We went to the drag race at Bandamere. That was awesome.
That was good.
Where you have the drag strip, and then the grandstands are built into the mountain. And at the top of the grandstands is the pits. It's the first track I've ever been to where you're walking around in the pits, and then when you go to the grandstands, you walk down to your seat.
Huh.
Wow.
It was awesome, totally awesome, because it's all
cool.
terraced into the mountain. Lots
That's
and lots
cool.
of walking, lots of hills, a lot
Well,
of exercise. But
I
didn't
better
lose
go,
a pound.
guys. I got a zillion things to do. So,
All right, Heidi. Good seeing you.
well, take care. Thank you. Good to meet you, Joe.
Take care. See you at SEMA.
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye.
How do I get-
Yeah, SEMA's going to be awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
We're
It's
all
probably going to be
waiting
the
to go.
biggest ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And now COVID is friggin' kicking up again.
I know.
In
I was
Arizona,
kinda
actually, I
hoping-
just read something in the news yesterday or this morning.
I was really hoping that it was going to be, get
Wide
super,
open.
super low by the end of the summer, so it would be just totally awesome come November. But
SEMA's going to shut it down
Doing a
again.
360.
No,
I
Yeah,
not unless this thing gets really
will-
bad
they will
and the
have to-
government starts wanting to shut everybody down.
Vegas shuts it down, SEMA will have to shut it down. Like
Right.
we
Yeah.
are not able to do our Hall of Fame gala in California. We have to do it in Vegas because LA hasn't opened it up yet. LA
Oh,
County.
wow.
There's no Grand National Roadster Show, LA Roadsters. All of that is because LA hasn't opened up yet. So it's
That's
really
crazy.
Every night on the news, they talk about California and the amount of cases that are showing up daily. You guys are a mess out there. I don't know what's going on.
it's nuts. That's why I stay more at the house in Arizona than I do the house in California.
You're better off.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Joe, I know you were on the road, and I'm
Hey.
sure you're probably tired.
And I gotta go cook some vittles.
Yeah. Vittles. Hey, so listen, we really appreciate you coming on, and you're a family, so you're welcome anytime.
And you know what? It was so wonderful to meet all of you, and thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're a wonderful person.
Now you know we're family if you let me take a body break.
Right?
Anytime, no problem.
That's the first, me, Louis. The first.
Hey, I'm happy to have it be the first.
Okay. All right, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Take care.
Talk to you
Be
later.
safe.
Take care,
You
Joe.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Great.
She
All right,
was
guys.
cool,
I got to
very
jump off. Yeah. Good, man. She's really a good person, man.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, just to talk to her. I mean, just to sit down and talk to her, she's great.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm going to jump off, but Ray's not here, so it's probably going to kick everybody else off.
Yeah,
See
probably.
what happens.
So,
Well,
I
you just
appreciate
leave the computer up and go to sleep after a while by itself.
you want to see me walking by naked?
Just
No,
don't.
that's all right. No thanks.
Put a
Yeah.
piece of tape over the camera.
Yeah. So, listen, we'll meet up again next week. I appreciate you guys.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
by the way,
you know-
anything from Dennis Cage?
Dennis Cage. No. I'm trying to reach out again with this week, so I'll let you know. But we got a list of people. It's just getting the time schedules is hard. So
What do you got for next week?
I don't want to say any names because if they don't show up, then I'm stuck.
Okay.
So
Got
but
us.
I got you guys. You guys are the main reason I'm here.
Filler.
We love you.
Filler there, huh?
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good week. Talk to you later.
All
Thanks
right,
for the
take care.
birthdays. Thanks for the
Bye.
birthday songs.
Yeah, right.
And I'll be expecting Amazon to drop off your gifts.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Stand by the mailbox. Don't
We'll be
worry.
getting the same thing you got from me last year.
Oh, come on, guys. You like my two kids.
Yeah, hugs and kisses are on the way. Don't worry.
Yeah. Bye.
Yep.
See ya.
Yep. It's about
Oh,
30
It's still here.
No, it's about
So I
30
got a little project going on.
What are you
There we
building?
go.
So these are 2 cans from like Hormel chili.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, look at that. A gauge pod. How cool.
I had a single one before, but I'm adding a fuel air ratio, and I have a vacuum boost gauge. So I cut the cans at an angle. I cut a thin piece of wood. I hot glued it in place, and then I took a woman's stocking, stretched it over it, took 2 elastic bands, and then I've been glassing it. And then I put wax paper over this, and I put it back on it, and I fiberglass. I'm still like about 80% done, I think.
Yeah, looks
That
good.
looks so cool.
And I'm going to white gel coat most of it, and I'm going to tweed around the perimeter so it kind of blends.
How does the gauge mount?
Well, so the gauge, the Sport Comp 2 5/8 fits snugly right into the inner edge.
Oh, okay. So the outer edge of the.
So it's going to recess in with just, you know how it curves a little bit? It's just going to stick out a little bit.
Cool.
Before, actually, I had taken some GE silicone, I stuck it in there, left it where I needed it. When it dried, it stayed in place.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's no way, I had to cut the studs off because I don't have the depth.
Okay.
You know, they're super long. In fact, this one's longer than this one on purpose because one gauge is a little deeper.
You could probably use a hot glue gun.
Oh, I was thinking of that too.
Yeah, that's true.
That way, if you use the hot, I mean, the silicone will probably work too, but you know, some of that stuff, sometimes temperature wise, it may not, you know, you don't want anything to shift or whatever. Hot glue gun, man, it's pretty good.
We have industrial one at work, so it takes hotter to get it hot, so it won't melt in the hot sun.
Yeah.
So I would use that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can buy different types of glue sticks.
But believe it or not, John, I had an old wheel center cap that I cut at an angle, and I had hot glued it in there, and I took an O-ring and I glued it where it met the tweed to finish it off, and the gauge fit right in there.
Oh, that's so cool.
But I couldn't get another one, and I wanted to do something different. So once this is all done and smoothed out, and it's going to look like it, you know, it belongs there.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
In fact,
that's a pretty smart idea. Take a tin can and cut it like that. I wouldn't have thought of that. I'm an idiot.
Let's see. So it started like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I see it. That's so cool.
And then actually, I got. So that's what it basically how it's going to look.
That reminds me on Ian guy that you know, he was doing a dash and he needed a bowl for the thing, and he, you know, turned around and looked at the dog's bowl and
the dog's bowl, right? I saw that episode.
Sorry, you got to
use it for the dash or something.
Yeah, then the other time that he needed I guess he put a hood tack in or something, and he used the steel toe inserts from his boots. You know, it's funny. You just think, you know, looking around going, hey, that would look great for this, you know.
He's amazing. I've been watching him for years. I can't wait to see him next week.
Yeah, I know. It's incredible. But
did you watch last night's show?
Yeah, I watch every week. It's great.
Last night was really good.
They do some good stuff.
Shaq is he's a nice guy.
Yeah,
he's a riot.
He's funny.
Oh,
I met him at SEMA 2 years ago. I met him at SEMA. He's awesome. He's got the best job on that show. He gets to drive around with what's his name?
Amanda.
Who would want to be driving with her, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's a looker.
Yeah. Driving around with her and spending their money. I mean, hell.
Right? Yeah.
Pretty good.
And it's like he knows everybody. Well, unless it's just the TV, but you know.
No. Well, based on what he was saying last night, he knows people.
Well, that's this whole thing about being in contacts, you know, being.
Yeah.
Tell you.
He knows people. He's
networking.
He gets around.
Yeah. That's the word.
Networking for sure.
Good guy.
So.
It was a lot of good insight as to how that shop came about.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Yeah.
It was good to learn, you know, what happened way back when.
Yeah.
When did you get back from your trip?
Tuesday night.
Got a chance to play with your car there at all?
No, we got back like 10 o'clock Tuesday night. Had to work yesterday, had to work today, got to work tomorrow. I got to catch up on my side of the deal. That plus I have a boatload of paperwork, invoices and things from the other jobs that are getting done that I'm not around, and just computer work. But I'm catching up. I'll be okay. I'll have everything all zeroed out by tomorrow. I think we're gonna take the boat out Saturday. So that means Sunday I'll be on this thing all day. I have to I'm doing the anti-roll bar. I got it welded up, and I got the cross member sitting in there, but I don't have anything locked in place yet. Let me see if I can see the arms.
Oh yeah. It's pretty massive.
Yeah, it's
overkill.
It's a big anti-roll bar. So that's that'll be the last piece that's got to go in there, and then it's time to do the fuel cell mount, battery mounts, fuel pump mount, that kind of stuff.
What are you going to use for your tin work?
I bought a set of black aluminum tubs, and I'll be getting more black aluminum to do the tin work. It'll all be black. I get the aluminum that's black on black. It's I forget what kind of coating it is. It's painted, but it's like electrostatic kind of, so it's strong. It's
almost like it's powder coated, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not anodized. It's the same tin that I've used for years, and everything will be black tin, but the whole interior is going to get completely covered in carpet. Oh man, what a freaking deal I found! I was in Colorado. I actually found it like 2 nights before we went away. I found a guy selling a set of seats. I got a million pictures from Colorado.
Oh, factory.
See those?
Yeah.
Those are 1 year only.
Oh.
1970 Firebird or Camaro low back buckets with removable headrests.
Yeah.
They only made them for 1 year. And they're actually the color blue that my car was originally.
Yeah. They don't look bad in the picture, but I take it you're going to reupholster them anyway.
Yeah, well, so I see these things, and the guy wants $1,000 for the pair of them, which to have 2 complete seats, even if you need to put new skins on them for $1,000 is like the steal of the year. So I asked the guy if he'll ship them. And he's like, no. So I'm like, okay. He's in Pennsylvania, East Coast. I got Rocco with the Camaro I did. He's Pittsburgh, so he's kind of West Coast. I asked the guy what city he lives in, and I do the Google Maps. It's a 9-hour ride from Rocco to this guy.
Wow.
Yeah. So I call Rocco. I see these things are in Arizona. While I'm away, the guy's like, he texts me. He goes, do you want these things or not? He says, because I got 5 people are interested in them. So I call Rocco, and I said, would you do me a favor?
Yeah, 9-hour drive.
And he's like, sure, I'll do it. I'm like, okay, cool. I said, I'll get back to you. I tell the guy, yeah, my guy will pick him up. And he goes, well, I'm going to be going to an auction that's 4 hours towards your guy. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I worked out this whole deal, and Rocco sent one of his guys out there, about a 3-hour ride, and picked them up. Guy gave me a receipt, the whole 9 yards. Rocco says, they look good. He goes, but if you want them to be mint, just buy a new set of covers.
Yeah.
He says the foam rubber feels good. It's got the tracks. Everything's there.
Nice.
The little lever to fold them forward, the stoppers. It's all there.
The tracks are the hard thing with that.
Yeah. So
you usually find one or the other. You find the tracks and no seats, or you find the seats and no tracks.
Well, every set that I've seen, because I'm on Facebook on like 15 different Firebird Camaro buy and sell parts things, and guys that buy cars and strip them and sell the parts. And even I got a local guy here in my town that's what he does. He only does Firebirds. And he's got one set of 70 seats that are absolutely annihilated. And you would have to start with the frame, have somebody glass beat it. Then you got to like spray it or coat it or whatever so it doesn't continue to rust. He's missing one track off of one seat. You got to buy everything. He wants $600 a
That
frame.
was mine.
No, that's what they go for.
Really?
Yeah.
I've come in contact with about, over the last 2 years, about 6 different people wanting to sell these seats. And they all start out somewhere in $600 to $700 for a disaster. So then by the time you buy the foam rubber, buy the covers, some of them, the headrests are missing. So now you got to try and find headrests, that plastic back, the latch, all of the stuff. By the time you're done putting a seat, redoing one seat is about $1,600 a seat.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
This
this guy's
crazy.
got, and you know what the weird part is? This dude bought a 72 Firebird, and it had these 1970 front seats in it. And that's the reason he's selling them. Because he's putting in dark blue 72 proper seats, high back buckets. So this worked out perfect.
Does that have the square button in the back?
It's kind of weird. No, it's not a square button. It's a little lever that lifts up.
Oh, on the side.
Yeah, and it kind of looks like a.
Or is it down low? I can't remember.
It's all the way down the bottom.
Yeah.
Brian, you're thinking like a 70 Chevelle has the square button.
Yeah. Maybe.
Has like a chrome piece around it, the bezel.
Yeah.
So how are you getting those things from Pennsylvania down to you, by the way?
Hold on a second here. I can show you what that button looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On the side. Yeah.
Rocco's gonna bag them, shrink, that plastic wrap.
Yeah.
So he's gonna use like 55-gallon drum liners, 2 drum liners on each one. Then he's gonna that shrink wrap stuff all around it, and then he's gonna lay them like head to toe, so they don't take up so much space sideways. And he's gonna strap them to a pallet, and then we're gonna bring them to that hardware company, Fastenal.
Yeah.
They ship stuff.
Oh, okay.
They have what it was is they have a shipping division, and their shipping costs are ridiculously low.
You can also do a Greyhound bus.
Yeah,
right. Greyhound
I know
bus.
people have done stuff like that.
Right.
Goods
So I'm
and stuff like that are crazy.
I'll check out both and see which one's the best.
Yeah.
And then he'll ship them down to me, and then I'll do the mounting and everything, and then when I'm ready, I'll get the seat covers, and I'll actually take it to my local upholstery guy, because then he can fit the covers and steam them so that they're really nice.
Yeah. Not fun doing.
I'll get the paint to re-dye the back plastic covers. That stuff, after a while, that particular vinyl, and it turns like green.
Yeah.
So I'll do that, and then I have to. I have a brand new reconditioned 70 to 81 dashboard, but it's black. So I'll have to do that spray dye to dye it that bright blue.
Yeah.
But I will literally be able to completely recreate the interior from the first car, which is great. And when I built that, I didn't own a bead roller. So all the aluminum work in that car is just aluminum. No beads, no steps, no nothing. It was pretty primitive, but it looked good. So what I did was I carpeted the interior. I just went to a local upholstery place and I had them use blue cut pile carpet, and they went right from the firewall all the way to the rear window, over the tubs. They glued it to the tubs, glued it down to the tin work in front of the tubs, between the tubs, the rear firewall, which gave the car a real street car kind of feel, and it helps quiet the car down quite a bit.
Oh yeah, a lot.
So I'm going to do the same thing in this car.
You Dynamat it too?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Dynamat. I'm not.
I do on cars. It definitely quiets it,
Yeah.
especially with big tubs that are aluminum.
Well, I put a liner in my tubs.
Okay.
For years, I've been using Coroplast, which is corrugated plastic that the sign makers use. And you just glue it into the tub. You cut it to fit, and you glue it into the tub. And all the rocks and everything, they just bounce right off of it. Rubber, when you do a burnout, you just roll it, peels right off. And it makes the tub solid and keeps the tub quiet.
So traditional, everyone usually uses steel, sheet metal for tubs and stuff.
Some guys do.
Now, when they do they normally weld all the seams?
I don't. That's insane to try and weld all that sheet metal, and it just warps and turns.
So what holds it all? Like pot rivets?
You rivet stuff and you tack weld. You do like stitches.
So with the aluminum.
With the aluminum, it's got to be a mechanical, fastener. You got to rivet it.
You got to rivet.
Yeah. So you rivet, you silicone. Nothing's going anywhere.
Seam sealer, yeah.
Yeah. We don't even use seam sealer. We use silicone.
My buddy actually uses the urethane, like the windshields. It's paintable, and it's far better. And you can take a little a reducer on either on your finger or on a rag or a rubber glove, and you get a nice edge to finish it off.
Yep. Yeah, the urethane works really, really well. The stuff they used to glue composite bodies together with. There's a lot of stuff that was not around when I built that car the first time.
Oh yeah, tons of stuff.
And the reason we used silicone at the race shop was if the car gets in an accident, everything starts to kind of disconnect.
Yeah, you can almost peel it off.
Makes it so much easier to rebuild the car.
Yeah.
So what you
just got to make sure you're doing it right though, because if you get into severe tire shake, you could actually knock a tub loose.
Oh.
You wind up with that, flopping around next to the body. So but the urethane stuff is what we wound up going to later on, where the tub meets the quarter panel. You just roll a bead in, there, and you smooth it out and let it dry, and you're ready to roll.
So are you going to build a custom gas tank to maximize size?
Nope. No, not at all.
Just buying jacks?
There's a 16-gallon fuel cell that fits perfectly between the frame rails.
So you built it around that, I take it?
No. I built it around the tires. You put the tires in the car, you lower the car down to the height that you want it to ride at, and you measure from wheel to wheel, mounting surface to mounting surface. So that's going to give you your dimensions. You start to give you the dimensions you need for the rear end. You measure from sidewall bulge to sidewall bulge, and you make sure that it's the same outside on both sides, and then just measure bulge to bulge on the inside, and you give yourself a minimum of an inch. I like to go 1.5 to 2 inches between.
You have a spacer on that?
No spacers. So I like to use about 1.5 to 2 inches gap between the frame and the tire, and about 2 inches between the sidewall bulge and the tightest part of the quarter panel for when the wheel goes up and down in the car. But still make it look like it's, stuffed. You don't want the wheels to be way under. And on this car, which is the same as the black car, which is the same as every every Camaro, every Firebird, second gen we've ever built, 24-inch wide frame. It's a nice, easy number. It gives you use 2x3, so you wind up with 20 inches between rails, and you can buy a fuel cell that's like 19.5 inches wide. It just drops right in.
Nice.
Yeah. So that works out real well. We've had to build custom, for street cars, custom aluminum cells. We did a round tube 69 Camaro years ago. It was literally a Pro Mod chassis. This was a double frame rail Pro Mod chassis that a guy wanted for a street car. And we started out with a set of Flowmaster mufflers on the chassis table. Tires, Flowmaster mufflers, modified my chassis blueprint to work with that. We wound up humping up the cross members from the main frame out to the rockers so that the muffler was no lower than the chassis. The problem with that, though, is it raised the floor under the seats by about that much,
Sure.
which gave you no headroom. So what we had to do is we literally had to jack up the body and make triangular wedged rocker panels. So the rocker panel was, even with the frame table, but the body was going uphill. So it had this triangular taper that got larger to the rear quarter panel. And then we cut the quarter panels and pulled the wheel openings back down and hand rolled that piece to fit in the middle. So when you looked at it, on the 69s, they got that flat wheel well opening.
Yeah.
That was literally right at about an inch below the top of the rim. So the tire was still tucked way up in there, but the body had sort of like the way they do a funny car. Funny cars are nothing but, triangles. They're wedged.
Yeah.
That gave us the headroom that we needed. But with the round tube chassis and the fact that this guy wanted it so he could bolt on a set of funny car tires, which are 17 by 35, they need a lot of space, So we had to build the fuel cell. We built a 16-gallon fuel cell and powder coated it. And because of the trunk opening on the 69s is really small and the frame rail was narrow, we had to make a mount that had removable tin work underneath. And then you actually unbolted the fuel cell from below the car and dropped it out, kind of like a stock tank,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we've done plenty of that stuff. The majority of the race cars that we built are in the early days. The fuel cells were in the back of the car. That's just the way they work. Small, 5-gallon cell, 7-gallon cell. Then when the Pro Stock Pro Mod stuff came around, they were 3-gallon stand-up cells, and they were mounted behind the passenger side tail light in that area. And batteries were in the middle. And if the car was a nitrous car, the nitrous bottles were either in the passenger side or they were on the driver's side behind the tub. Then later on, everybody started going to front-mounted fuel cells. So we got rid of everything in the back of the car except for the batteries and the fire bottles, which made it just so much easier. You didn't have all of that steel. First off, you didn't have the fuel cell and the mount. You didn't have the fuel pump, fuel filter, 20 feet of steel braided hose that you had to try and snake through a car that wasn't built for that. That's why we used to run the fuel lines through the chassis. And when it went to front fuel cell, you're talking about a little 3-gallon fuel cell. The fuel pump is literally mounted to the fuel cell. And then you just have the lines that go from the pump up to your regulators. So you save somewhere in the vicinity of like 30 pounds or more when you're done. And that's the standard of the industry today. Nobody puts a fuel cell in the back of the car. Only street cars.
When I tubbed my S10, I had a custom aluminum tank made, and I narrowed the factory frame 12 3/8 inches.
Sure.
So where the frame is, it has these diagonal. So the tank is kind of like square, and then it has this like
Cut off corners.
Yeah, going up to maximize. And I have like this much more gas tank, so it's probably about 14 or 15 gallons total.
That's cool. Very cool.
And what we did was, I cut the gas tank, the original one, and made a flange, and it bolts to the top of the fuel cell. So I got a piece of neoprene and made a gasket. So
that's cool.
The height of the tank is a little higher than my original. So when it says empty, there's still about this much gas.
Yeah.
For the flow. So I was able to utilize all that. But it's funny, everyone's like, oh, put an IROC fuel pump in there. I just put a Ford F-250, it's a 100-pound pump on the frame rail. And so I've never had an issue with that, with the fuel injection.
When I first built the 1970, I used a Vega gas tank because it was way smaller than the Firebird gas tank, and I was able to fit it between the frame rails. Then later on, at the drag strip, they didn't like that, so I had to wind up buying a fuel cell.
Yeah, they want it inside with a firewall, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It used to be when you looked underneath the car, you'd see what looked like a stock tank because it was a stock Vega gas tank. And I actually bought from Competition Engineering, which is part of Mr. Gasket, a weld-on sump that's got two bungs with.
Oh yeah, you cut it out and you weld it to the bottom.
Yeah. That was the first time I ever welded, a sump into a gas tank. We had a gas tank explode at the shop one day.
Someone wasn't being smart.
The guy that was doing it, he didn't clean it good enough, and he didn't vent it properly. And what happened was he's over there welding, and then all of a sudden it lit off. Boom! Everybody stopped. Everybody dropped whatever they were doing. I turned around like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah." The gas tank was swollen. It actually, you know how the gas tanks are all folded with those wrinkles, from stamping? There was some areas that were now flat. That was dangerous because the fumes that are in the tank are more volatile than the gasoline itself.
I would have soaked it down with water and left it wet and then did it.
Well, you can't weld when it's wet.
Well,
he was doing silicon bronze. He was bronzing it. But there was enough heat to light up the fume, That was hilarious. We laughed at that one.
We used to start another car up and hook a hose to it and the carbon monoxide going into the tank.
Yeah, that would do that. That'd be good.
That's how we did it. That's when we did it on our cars when we put the sumps in.
Yeah. Were you welding them or were you like soldering them in?
Welding. MIG.
Well, you were MIGging them. You got to use some thin wire.
Yeah.
Body shop stuff.
023.
Yeah, we were TIG welding them, but we were using silicon bronze, which is real low heat, and it's like soldering,
Yeah.
And when you get good with it, instead of just letting it flow like solder, you actually leave beads, So I'm looking forward to that. There'll be some of that on this car. It's probably the only thing I haven't done yet is to get out the silicon bronze rod and put in like a little 1/16 tungsten and turn the amperage way down and get in there and start doing that. But I have to buy a new TIG torch. This TIG torch that's on here, I didn't even realize it because I've forgotten more than I've learned through the years. This one's only rated for like 150 amps.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go to do the welding on the rear end, this thing's got like 3/8 thick axle tubes, and I'm welding 1/4-inch plates. I gotta dump a lot of heat into it, and that torch is not going to be happy.
Yeah.
At 200 amps, it's just not going to like it,
Yeah. Check your ground. Make sure you have a good ground too.
Yeah, well, the ground will be directly to the housing because the housing will be out of the car up on the workbench.
Yeah, I know that, but some of them, like like I had this problem with guys in body shops. They'll buy a magnetic ground, basically.
Oh no, I don't use that. I use a big
and
clamp.
right, but they'll have one that's even the metal clamp is not rated enough, and they smoke them, and then they have all
yeah.
problem, and that's why I mean when you got like that kind of power, it's not a lot of power, but it's a more than normal power. You just got to be pumped up on the ground side. Also, most people at the ground side, and they end up having problems.
My ground cable that's on here is like a 1/0 or something.
Yeah,
It's when we bought these units, we bought a 300 amp copper plated clamp, spring clamp.
Yeah,
and the cable is rated to 300 amps, and these are 250 amp units.
Yeah.
So it's a freaking, well, it's what they call welding cable, which is
like a garden hose,
flexible, but it's thick.
Yeah.
It's a big heavy. It weighs a ton. It's pure copper.
Yeah,
you know, it's pure.
No, like
pure
I said, most guys
copper.
just overlook. They look at the one end of it and they wonder why.
Right.
And like I said, I had a lot of guys. Of course, a lot of guys will also, because of the ground, they want it small because they're going, they're in a tight area, but then they don't have coverage for it. And they're like, you can't have. It's not both the best worlds there. If you need that ground to support that amperage.
Right, the ground is the whole thing. Yeah, I've always used big, heavy ground wires on everything.
Yeah, so
I buy those big clamps. I forget the name of the company that makes them, but they're big, beautiful copper-plated clamp with a spring. Kind of think that if you just sat there and squeezed it, it's like
get the hand worked out. I don't know if I have
exactly.
And
you need to transfer your ground really good.
In the other box, I have my ground clamps. I mean, I have my welding door over there. This one.
And you always got to have a clean surface. You can't just stick the ground on these, on these black painted panels.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing you can do.
Yep.
So I always, the first time I go in to do any kind of welding, I'm in the middle of, I'm grinding stuff down to bare metal, and I'm going to put the clamp right there.
Yeah.
And then after the frame starts coming together, I'm clamping to the actual chassis all the time. Yeah. So I'm not even transferring the electricity through the thin sheet metal of the body. I'm going right through the chassis.
Yeah.
So it'll be the same with the housing, because the housing will be up on the bench, and the clamp will wind up being clamped directly to the housing itself. So I won't have a problem there. But I got to buy a heavy duty TIG torch, one that's got a higher amperage rating. So I noticed that this one, even like when I'm doing like the roll bar tubes and stuff, because they're 125 wall, no 134 wall. In order to be able to pass the sonic test for NHRA, has to be 134 wall. That way the variance doesn't go below like 122. So I see that, when I'm putting the amps into this thing and I'm welding around the roll cage, after 5 or 6 minutes, the handle is really
hot.
Yeah, it's not super hot, but it's really, really warm.
Yeah.
And it's, I'm at the limit for that torch.
Are you shaving the edge for the?
Yeah. I have one of those. Here, it's right here. I could pull a ray.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
This thing's awesome.
Yeah.
It's cut for the 3 different size tungstens. You snap it here, clean, and then you lay it in it, and it's at an angle. I don't know what that angle exactly is, but it lays the tungsten down on top of that.
And when you're doing the roll bar on the roll bar, are you shaving the ends on the roll bar?
I'm using a notcher. Yeah. It's variable angle, and it uses hole saws. And you plunge the hole saw right through it, and you get your perfect notch.
Yeah.
Like the kind of notch that you could just barely get your thumbnail into.
Yeah.
which is great, you know, because when it's nice and tight, then the weld comes out super good. It's when you got a gap, you know, you're starting out real nice, and then you come to a place where you got a gap because you didn't take the time to fit it. Now you're like shoving filler rod in there.
Yeah, it doesn't look as nice.
No, it doesn't look as nice. But
it's nice to get those little dimes, people call them, little dimes.
Yeah, well, those little dimes, I'm working on getting them back. There's some welds that are on here that I'm not super proud of, but
I won't tell anybody, I promise.
I don't give a shit. You know, I'm looking at this car. This car is the warm up, the knock the rust off practice. So when I get to the 81, which is going to be 100% chrome moly, now you're talking thin wall. Your fit, you know, your tube fitting has to be right on the money because chrome moly just goes away real fast if you overheat it.
Yeah.
My muscle memory and my hands, they'll be back in operation 100% by the time I get to that car.
The funny part, like when I play around like that, the welds that come out the best are the ones that you can't see, and the ones that you see look like shit. And I'm like, God, it drives me crazy. I mean, a part of something, I'll be doing something, and it'll be something that nobody will ever see. And I'm like, man, it's beautiful. Yep. And then someplace where somebody can see it, and you're like, man, it's like dog shit here, man. It's like crookeder than a dog's leg. Going, what the fuck?
I got a couple of welds on the housing that I did that I'm actually gonna go back and like not grind them out, but
clean them up,
and then weld over them again, make a second pass.
Yeah.
And the difference is because those were the ones that I did when I still had the regular welding helmet, where I was like fighting to see the puddle, you know.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. It's so weird because the other helmet that I had, it's got a 1.5 or a 2.0 magnifying cheater lens in it. And I still couldn't see real well with it, and I had to wear my glasses. So I'm like double magnifying.
Yeah.
This new one I bought from Miller.
Yeah.
You don't wear your glasses at all.
Yeah.
I bought a 2.0 cheater, and the lens is like this big.
Yeah.
And you can slide it up or down.
Yeah.
You know, the big one. So you put it to the point where this is where I'm most comfortable looking through it.
Right. That way, when you look up, you don't have that magnification. I sell the same thing. I mean, I had the same thing in mine, and that's what I sell. I sell the same thing. Your old one, that old one probably might have gotten messed up from the heat.
Could be.
The plastic, I mean, because it's plastic, and they will get distorted over a period of time. It's one of those things that you have to kind of.
Yeah, I have a second, you know, magnifying lens in the bag. Just put away. Later on.
You gotta change those out.
Yeah, I'm like so impressed with this helmet. It's amazing.
Yeah,
because it's literally, when it's off, it's crystal clear, like looking through a window.
Yeah,
and then when it's on, it's like HD welding. It gets it gets bluish white, and you could literally see perfectly what you're doing.
Yeah, and that has the grind mode. I love mine. The grind mode.
It's got the grind. It's got it has 3 different options. It's got welding. It's got like brazing. So like if you're doing gas welding.
Yeah.
Or cutting, plasma cutting, and then it's got grinding, and you just set the lens color, you know, the lens darkness shade for each one.
Yeah.
Hit it, you move the menu to whatever.
And it goes up to 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem when you're doing aluminum. A lot of guys, some of the newer aluminum stuff, the welding aren't, you know, it's not protected. It's, you know, you need it's like 13 or 14 shade.
Yeah. You got to go higher on aluminum.
Yeah, aluminum, and that's I get that a lot because a lot of guys are like, they burn their eye. I mean, they burn the retina. I mean, they burn themselves up, and they're like, I said, dude, you need a
Trust me.
ES13.
Over the years, I've been to the doctor numerous times for flash burn.
Yeah.
I screwed up. When I first built the white car to make it a pro street car, I didn't know how to weld at that time. That was pre-welding certificate course Johnny there. So I tack welded everything with a MIG welder, and I flatbedded the car to a local welding shop. So I'm documenting this thing.
And you're just watching that guy?
I'm shooting pictures with a 35 millimeter Pentex SLR.
Yeah.
So I'm literally looking at the weld.
Sure you are.
Didn't realize that.
Yeah.
About 11
You had a
o'clock,
fun night.
About 11 o'clock that night, I wake up and it was like somebody threw sand in my eyes.
Yep.
And my parents were away in Hawaii. My sister had to drive me to the hospital so they could put that stuff in your eyes that I guess it's just like super strong Visine.
Yeah.
It just numbs you and then helps to constrict the blood vessels. But the next day I was fine.
Yeah.
But the doc was like, "What were you doing?" I said, "I was shooting with a camera."
It's like looking at the sun.
Somebody, this guy doing the welding on my car, and he's like, "What?" What did you have? I said, I got a Pentex SLR. And he's like, yeah. He goes, so you're looking at the weld. I'm like, I didn't realize.
It's like a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
He goes, that was a real stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
Hey, it's way past my bedtime. I'm usually in bed at 10.
Okay.
All right, Scott, take it easy.
Yeah, take care, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Can't wait to see the finished result on your pod.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Yeah, I'll definitely be posting some pictures.
Do that.
And
yeah,
we'll
that's awesome.
should be good to go. Right now, I have about 3.5 hours in the whip, but not including dry time. But
yeah,
that's okay.
But now
man.
I gotta skim a little bit more fiberglass, and then I'm gonna use some Bondo on it, and I'll use that lightweight stuff. It'll sand it.
Yeah, the filler.
So
awesome.
I think I still got some white gel coat somewhere. So all right, guys, be good.
All right, take it easy, be safe. Talk to you next week.
You got
it.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
But man, let me tell you, that was a great trip. Colorado
I bet.
was awesome. The drag strip was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The only thing is and I've seen pictures of Bandimere Speedway, and I'm like, there's a lot of walking.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of hills. We got there, and I made a mistake. I bought tickets for Friday, which I wanted to see nighttime qualifying,
Uh-huh.
So I didn't bother to really look at the schedule. Come to find out, there was only one pro session at like 7:30.
Oh.
We got up Friday morning, had breakfast, got in the car. The hotel we were at literally was like less than 15 minutes from the track.
Uh-huh.
Drove in, not a lot going on. We walk in, give on, your tickets, the whole 9 yards. So there's this huge ramp that's got to be 800 feet long, and it goes from ground level all the way up to the pits.
Yeah.
I got to the top of that ramp. I'm like, oh my God, I'm out of breath. It was ridiculous. We're walking around in the pits. Not one professional team was there at all.
Oh.
And the sportsman guys were just getting ready to start hitting the staging lanes. And then we went and got something to drink. We sat under these huge tents with big fans blowing. It was super nice. And just listening to the announcer talking.
Mm-hmm.
There was no cars going down the track or anything. This was like 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I bring up the schedule on my phone, and I'm like, oh, man, there's just one pro session tonight. And she's like, so what are we going to do? I'm like, well, let's leave. We'll just come back.
Yeah.
She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. So we split. And
that would be a long day.
yeah, well, 20 years ago, I would have spent the whole day. I would have explored the sportsman pits.
Right.
And oh, here's a cool story. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give him a call. We're in the airport in Tampa, and we're just sitting there waiting for the plane to come. And we got there a little early, so we had about after we went through security, probably had about an hour and a half or more, almost 2 hours to kill. So we ate, grabbed something to eat, went back, was sitting there, and I see a guy walk up, coming out of the bathroom, and he's wearing a DSR shirt.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, that guy's got a DSR team shirt. I go, that's not a Don Schumacher shirt you can buy.
Yep.
So he sits down at the tables and he's, plugs his phone in and he's on his phone. So Barb goes, so go over there and talk to him. So I go by and I start talking to the guy, and he's Leah Pritchett's crew chief for her Challenger, that stock class.
Yep.
And he's the crew chief, and the dude lives 3 miles away from me.
Yeah.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me. He's like, I just introduced myself. I'm like, hey, I'm a drag race guy. I live in Plant City. He goes, so do I. Like, what? We talked for about an hour. It was awesome. He sat next to me on the plane. We had a great time. They didn't do too well. They had a lot of trouble with the car.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it on TV.
Yeah. No, we get because of Schumacher, we get we sponsor them.
Right, with the Matco car.
Right. And and like I said, we get our weekly or race results email. We get a whole breakdown and everything like that. So yeah, those are all great guys, man. They're all
awesome people. Yeah,
they're all great. You can talk to them. I mean, like I said, all those guys are just they're great. They're great with the distributors. The distributors love them. They're great for the sport. The yards, man. Those guys are all awesome.
Yeah, so we left. We cut out. Then, so while we're there, we find out I see these people driving around in these really, really large red golf carts.
Uh-huh.
They're all wearing volunteer shirts, and the golf carts are all set up so that they can transport somebody in a wheelchair.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we're walking by, and the guy says, hey, you guys need a ride? And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, we don't just move, handicap. He says, if you want to ride down to the parking lot, we'll take you. He goes, and if you come back, if you go through this gate by the entryway, he goes, we line them up. We'll take you up the hill.
Up the hill.
Yeah, we'll actually take you almost anywhere you want to go in the pits. If you got a friend that's got a car here, we'll take you right to the pit. My wife looked at me. She's like, this is ridiculous. So we took the ride down. And when I bought the tickets, I bought a preferred parking pass.
Yeah.
Which put me in a parking lot right there, super close. So we split. And then we wound up going to, we went to this train museum right there in Golden.
Yeah.
They had all these locomotives, steam. They had some nice diesels, F9, GM F9s from Electromotive. They got a train. You go on a ride. It's about a 2-mile loop. And they take you around like 3 times, and they talk about the different locos that are there and the cars and stuff. And there's a museum on the property. Downstairs is this ridiculous HO gauge layout. It's like 4 miles of HO track.
Wow.
With like I don't know, maybe 30 different lines. And these things are running around, and the scenery is impeccable. It's phenomenal stuff. I took a bunch of photos of it. I have to post all this stuff. There was all kinds of history there. And you're walking around, you're looking at these locomotives and the whole deal. So we get off the train. As we're driving on this train, making these loops, and while we're walking around, I'm looking, and I see a roundhouse, with the turntable.
Yeah.
Where they're doing restorations and stuff. There's across the street is the Coors Brewing factory. I don't see any kind of crossover junctions or anything to get these trains in this giant yard, So when we got off the train, the engineer came down and he was like, "Hey, how'd you like the ride?" I said, "Yeah, it was awesome. Let me ask you a question. How did you get these trains in here?" I said, "I don't see any sidings. I don't see any spurs, nothing." He goes, "Yeah, there are none." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Only one locomotive, this one, which was, what a big boy is? Okay. This one is one set of drivers less than a big boy. Big locomotive, but not as big as a big boy." He said that's the only locomotive that came in here on rails on its own power.
Wow.
He said it came through on the Coors line. He said, and it sat on a siding for 3 years until we could get the city, the county, the state, because it's a state road, to all agree to allow us to put a temporary track across the road.
Wow.
Now there's a drainage ditch. They had to call in a company to literally build an 18-foot bridge.
Wow.
Because the people that owned the property were afraid the ditch was going to collapse. And the guy said it took 3 years to get them to allow them to do this. And they did it. It took them 2 days to get set up. And it took literally 10 minutes to bring the locomotive in.
Cross, yeah.
Then they had to clear everything back out and reopen the road.
Yeah.
There's like 70 trains and cars, box cars and cabooses and coal cars on this property. Every single one of them was brought in on flatbeds.
Yeah.
And cranes.
Yeah.
And they moved them from crane to crane.
I don't know.
To get them onto the tracks.
I don't know if it was that place, that particular museum, but I saw something on TV about them moving these trains, and it was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
Moving that stuff, and like you said, the planning takes forever, and it's like 30 seconds later, this thing, moves 10 minutes, and it's 4 years of planning, executing, building, getting this thing ready, and
it's unbelievable. It's insane.
It's like going out with that hot chick and shooting the load, and 30 seconds later.
Yeah. I was amazed because they have all different kinds of stuff there from all these different years, and there is some stuff that's interconnected within the property, so they can move things around. And like I said, they got this beautiful. I think it's like eight garage, roundhouse, and a turntable, and it's a manual turntable.
Right.
They had this little diesel switcher that they were going to use to move something with, and they fired it up. I mean, this thing was like the size of a pickup truck. Wasn't real big at all. A little diesel daily,
Yeah.
And the guy had to move the turntable. So he goes over to the turntable and he pulls this like lever with a big ball on it and unlocks it. And then he grabs the handrail and he literally just walks the turntable to the rail that he needed.
Yeah.
And then he jimmies the lever, and that lines up the track, and then he locks it in position.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that's so cool. They had everything there. We were there for hours.
Yeah.
Then we did some other stuff. We went and got some lunch, went back to the hotel. I actually took a nap, and we went back to the track at 5 o'clock. Stayed there until it was done.
Yeah.
Caught one of those, we caught a golf cart going up.
Uh-huh.
And then we caught a golf cart coming back, which I was like, wow, because the place was packed.
Yeah.
So there's all these people walking through the pits, walking down that asphalt ramp, going out to the 3 different parking lots.
Yeah.
We were in the back of this guy's golf cart thing going, took us like literally within 50 feet of the car.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We hooked out of there. I was a little worried coming back. I'm like, we're going to catch Friday night traffic. I said, and there's really only one road into the track.
Uh-huh.
I said, so we're going to be sitting for a while trying to get in. And I found on my phone an alternate route, which literally came in like the back way. No cars. There was 2 cars in front of me down that road. There's this windy road. And then it goes under the highway. And then boom, right there, gate B.
Wow.
We pulled in, showed them the ticket, and we parked. My wife was like, that's amazing. Because there was a line. I think it's Interstate 70 over there.
Uh-huh.
There was a line of people getting off that exit. And then you got to go like another block, make another right, and it's the entry road to go into the track.
Yeah.
Packed. It was packed. Packed to the point that they were stopped on the interstate trying to get off. And we just came in this empty road, just drove right in. I was like, wow. So I said, we got to take that road home too.
Yeah.
Almost nobody will be going down that road. So that worked out really well.
I had that one time when I went into a NASCAR race, and I moved around in the neighborhood, and got in, and I was like, man, I remember. But the problem is I was so far in, so deep, that when it was time to leave, it was like, 6 hours just trying to get out of the place then afterwards. I got so close down in.
I remember when we went to Daytona. That was an experience because you drive and you get kind of near the track.
Yeah.
And you start to see signs for parking.
Yeah.
You don't park at the track in Daytona.
No. Oh, I know.
You park in these, basically it's like the fields that are underneath the electric wires that are, from the generator.
I had season tickets to Daytonas for 10 years.
Yeah.
So we used to come down. I used to do a Daytona. I would do the start of the year Daytona, and then I would do because I had the season ticket. I would do the 4th of July also. The 500 that time, and usually back then the schedule was all in the South. So I would have, especially during the after July. Because I would do Charlotte, I would do the Coke 600, the Winston, and then we do 2 short tracks. So for 6 weeks of that time period, I was up and down going to all the tracks.
Cool.
Did a lot of driving. So, but
I had never been to Daytona before for a race, and we follow these signs. You go past all these camping areas, and then you go out in these fields that they cleared, and they park you, and then you walk to a bus, and then the buses take you to the track to a loading and unloading zone. And I mean, it was like it had to be a good 45 minutes from parking to actually getting into the track. So I said to Barb when it was getting ready, we were near the end of the race,
time to go.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.